fire general manager Trent Baalke.
Don't even miss her.
Hell yeah! Trent be gone, Trent be gone. Heck yeah.
Free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty that he gave Shad the good sense to be free at last of Trent Baalke. Ha ha! Happy days. Everybody can eat Baalke. A big pile of Baalke. Give me 10. Give me 10, baby.
1010XL 92.5 FM presents Jaguars Today with your hosts Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, and Dylan Denmark.
All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome in. This is Jaguars Today on this Thursday. And Tony, in the end, William Coen gets a special place in Jaguar coaching lore.
Him and Frank Gore.
Call
Put
him a
on the
straw.
building.
Call him a straw. He's the straw that apparently broke Baalke's back in the eyes of Shad Khan. And the Jacksonville Jaguars are no longer employing Trent Baalke as their general manager. As John Shipley put it, day late and a dollar short. Yeah, it is. Yeah. I mean, you can't convince me, and you won't convince me otherwise, that they would not have had Ben Johnson already introduced as their head coach if Shad Khan had just made the move that everyone suggested he make outside of his advisory committee of Trent Baalke, Doug Peterson, the coordinators, and Ethan Waugh, who is now the interim GM of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
For now, yeah.
How you don't make that move 2 weeks ago, and it came to this. This is what I suppose the conversations were like with Trent Baalke and Shad Khan in the last few weeks. Well, from Trent's perspective, we may get Ben Johnson. We may not. He's got a lot of good options. He's not the only good mind out there. Really like this Liam Coen guy in Tampa. Well, are you sure nobody else seems to be reaching out to interview him? No, this is a guy. He's a bright offensive mind. Here's why, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I'm sold on it. And Liam Coen, there's, rumors that he wanted his own GM in here as well. Whether that's true or not, I wasn't there to be privy to those conversations. But when it comes down that you opt to stay in a coordinator job, and I don't care how much they're paying you to be a coordinator, you're not a head coach. And you could be a head coach in a state with no state income tax, with a quarterback in place. You're not starting from zero in a very winnable division, and you opt to stay where you are, maybe with a wink nudge that, hey, you'll be the kind of the coach in waiting. And who knows, maybe that'll even be part of his contract. I have no idea in Tampa when they finally do move on from Todd Bowles. But Shad had to have said, oh, well, maybe there is something to all this. Baalke is poisoning the well or standing in the way of getting the best possible candidates here. It's the most logical thing that seems to have played out.
The last time we heard from Shad Khan was a few weeks ago, and when he was asked about the decision to keep Trent Baalke and the potential effect that could have on the head coaching search, he said it won't have an effect. He said it very confidently. It won't have an effect on the head coaching search. Well, evidence to the contrary, right? And when it was that blatant in his face, he was willing to make the decision and move on from Trent Baalke. Yeah, it should have been done 2 weeks ago, right? At the latest, it should have been done 2 weeks ago to give themselves an opportunity to go after, as we've been talking about now for weeks. But the guy in the coaching search, Ben Johnson, doesn't mean he's going to be guaranteed to be the best head coach in this cycle. It has nothing to do with that. It's the process that the Jaguars are in is miserable. And yesterday it looked even more miserable. And it was finally bad enough that Shad Khan said, I can't do this.
I got to do something.
Yeah.
Here.
Like it's affecting our opportunity to step forward as a franchise in any significant way. You got to go.
You've already missed out on whether they're the top candidates. Again, that's not the important thing. It's who you identify to be the most coveted guys. And Ben Johnson was certainly among them. And all the stuff you hear officially and unofficially is that Ben Johnson coveted the opportunity to work with Trevor Lawrence, would have absolutely loved this job if it weren't for the presence of Trent Baalke in the front office. And, I think we would have been we would have been deep past this whole coaching discussion. It would have been now, Ben Johnson, how does he fill out his staff? And what does he do on the defensive side of the ball? He's a bright offensive mind. Who's he going to bring in to run this defense? Can we get a Robert Saleh, that level of a coordinator when there are other teams interested in him? But look, it is better than nothing, right? For those who say too little, too late, all right, that's your prerogative, right? Mm-hmm. If you had said, like, what combination would you rather have? Would you rather have Liam Coen with Trent Baalke? Because I know what a lot of people were saying. Well, it doesn't matter. Trent Baalke's going to foul it all up. He's going to poison the relationship. He's going to, there would have been this cloud over the team.
Yeah.
And its fan base's perception of what this team was capable of doing, how serious they were as a franchise. Or if you said, all right, you know what, you're not going to get Ben Johnson or you're not going to get Liam Coen, and we're going to get rid of Trent Baalke, would that satisfy you? I think more people would have chosen the latter, but you could have had the whole thing. And that's the thing. It's only Shad Khan's unwillingness or unreadiness to act, and maybe his disbelief that this was going to be an impediment. As you said, Tony, you said this is not going to stop us from getting a high-quality candidate. Well, if it's true that you had circled in on Liam Coen after Ben Johnson chose Chicago, then yeah, it absolutely it cost you a couple of candidates. And again, I know they're the only team that's looking at Liam Coen, but there are plenty of. I mean, you talk to any Bucs fan, you look at the Bucs media, they are thrilled beyond belief that this guy's going. And I mean, there was a high degree of sentiment, at least what I saw online, and that doesn't necessarily reflect the sentiment of everybody, that if it came to it, we'd rather get rid of Todd Bowles and keep Liam Coen as our head coach, if necessary, to keep him here for what he has done for this offense in Tampa. Now, people have brought up he hasn't signed his deal yet. Well, even if he signed his deal, unless there's specific language prohibiting
promotion.
You could still leave a coordinator job to become a head coach. I don't sense that that's going to happen.
Probably not.
There's talk he wanted John Spytek, who was an assistant in the front office for the Buccaneers, to be the next head coach. He's seen as a rising star kind of guy. The Raiders apparently are finalizing a deal with him yesterday, and he actually overlapped with Tom Brady for a year at Michigan. So they were teammates, even though they weren't good friends. And then Brady came to play for the Bucs, led him to a championship. So Brady's selling him on I've got the vision. I know how to get there. And he's like, hey, I've got basically a blank slate. I can mold this team any way I want, whatever the case. I mean, GM jobs don't grow on trees, nor do head coaching jobs. That's why when a guy turns yours down to stay at a lower level on the coaching staff somewhere else, even for Shad Khan, alarm bells had to be going off yesterday. And, for those who say he doesn't care, I don't know if I'll ever change your mind about that. Clearly he cares. To me, or he could have just shut his ears and gone, I'm a billionaire, man. I'm going to sail off of my yacht. You guys figure it out. I've done my part. We're going to hire a new coach. Deal with it. And he didn't. And the shame of it is it wasn't responsive enough. It didn't happen soon enough. It was going down this road. It was going to end badly. At least I'm hoping. And look, I don't know Ethan Wall from Adam, okay? But I don't need anybody off the Baalke tree running the Jacksonville Jaguars at GM. There better be an extensive search taking into account whatever your incoming coaches are saying, at least your coaching candidates are saying about the guys that they'd like to work to. I don't know where Shad Khan's going to go because, again, his list of advisors, his self-proclaimed list of advisors are Trent Baalke, Doug Peterson, who he named after he'd already fired him, the coordinators, good luck, and Ethan Waugh, right? Who Ethan Waugh now probably looks at this, and I don't blame Ethan Waugh, as saying this is my great opportunity to show that I can handle this job and I can be a GM in the National Football League. You don't think he wants to be a GM?
I would think less of him if he didn't look at it that way.
Of course, right? I mean, but that doesn't mean, look, and again, he's going to get painted by the Baalke brush in a lot of people's eyes, mine included. Like, I need some fresh ideas. I need a clean start. Now, could it be a situation where, you have a coach and you're interviewing GM candidates further on down the line? It's still got to mesh. There's still got to be some kind of balance. Ideally, I would like to see a GM hired in most circumstances, and then you go about your coaching search with that vision in place. But if they're going to both report to the owner anyway, maybe it doesn't matter all that much, but we're way beyond the point of waiting on that process to play out. We're not going to start a GM search today and put everything else on pause. Robert Saleh's going to be like, what am I waiting around for?
Yeah.
I got a good job offer out in San Francisco. Some of these other guys, Joe Brady. What do I want? You know what? I'll be a hot candidate again next year, especially after we win the Super Bowl. That's what his thought process will be, up in Buffalo and on and on and on. But it is what it is. It's better than it was this time yesterday. Although we're just finding out this time. It's been about 24 hours since we found out that Liam Coen was going to go his separate way and remain in Tampa. But it's not as good as it could have been. But, again, don't let don't let the great be the enemy of the good. Is that something like that, right? Like, you still got a result that you're more happy with than you would have been yesterday. I can't go back in time and use the time stone, Tony, and turn it all back, bring back vision, and bring back Shad Khan's opportunity to go Doug Peterson and Baalke out on the same day. That would have set a brand new course in Jaguar history. We're going down a brand new path, but with fewer options than we had a couple of weeks ago.
Reality is reality. Deal with it. Right? Shad Khan made a decision 2 weeks ago to keep Trent Baalke. It cost him. It costs the franchise, it costs the organization, and why it would take the owners seeing two coaching candidates that they clearly wanted. Right? It's that for everyone who was saying, well, maybe these really weren't the top guys. You get enough of that nonsense now. Right? Like, if the owner of the team is willing to see those two guys say, no, thank you, and he says, I can't do this anymore. Right? Like, if that's the ledge that had to be crossed for him to say, I'm done with Trent Baalke as the GM, it's a pretty clear indicator that I think their two highest coveted candidates said no thank you to the job here in Jacksonville. And he said, maybe this Trent Baalke thing is real, right, around the league. Maybe he was just like, I don't understand why people say it. I've talked to Trent. I like Trent, right? Maybe that's the way Shad's dealt with it the whole time. He's like, I know the guy. I work with the guy. He's doing fine.
Right, I'm sure most people who've never spoken a word to Trent Baalke spend an afternoon with him, he'd probably be like, right, what's wrong with him?
Right. Like, Shad was maybe in more of a place of, I don't know why people talk about him like he's a bad guy at this, or he's terrible at this, or all these different things. But two coaches that you really wanted saying no thank you was enough for Shad Khan to say, all right, we got to change something up here. Thank goodness he's finally to that point where they're changing the general manager of the franchise. Like you said, I don't know what's going to happen with Ethan Waugh. I hope he doesn't wind up as the full-time GM for this football team, but he's the only name left in the building that Shad Khan talked about talking to about these kinds of decisions is Ethan Waugh.
Yeah.
He's the only one left, so will I be surprised if in a week or two it's announced that Ethan Waugh is the GM for 2025 and they've announced who the new head coach is going to? No, that won't surprise me even the slightest bit.
But at least he has to go through a search process.
At least.
Because as far as I'm aware, Ethan Waugh does not have a clause in his contract that he's next in line of succession to the throne.
No.
Here in the front office of the Jaguars. So we've got some time for you to jump in if you want to weigh in with your reaction to what went down. Good, bad, or indifferent, whatever the case may be. For some people, it's too little too late. Not going to be enough. And that's your prerogative, right? That's 641-1010. If you want to get in on the Garber Automall phone lines or the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures, our official question of the day simply is, what is your reaction to the Jaguars parting ways with general manager Trent Baalke? You can also hit us up in the YouTube virtual studio chat or on social media at MD_1010XL, at 1010XL Fat Tony, and at 1010XL Denmark.
I need some Girl Scout cookies.
What's your favorite Girl Scout cookie, Dylan?
I like the mints.
Oh, the Thin Mints?
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty much
in the fridge.
That's like everybody's go-to.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll get you a couple boxes. Although I do enjoy hearing the little drop that you've got right there.
I got to have them cookies.
I know you do, baby. So today, Travis Holmes from Big Cat Country is going to join us in, about 25 minutes from now, 30 minutes from now. Pete Prisco, about an hour from now, in hour number 2. Those were our regularly scheduled guests before the news came out, but certainly appropriate to have them weigh in, not just on this decision, but the Jaguars offseason, all the decisions that they've made up until this point, and more importantly now, where do they go from here? Is it Robert Saleh? Is it Joe Brady and Todd Monken coming in for visits next week? I don't know. A lot of people said, well, this is going to extend the search out. Maybe it was that it was Liam Coen and these other two guys were going to be finalists, but they were not really, the apple of Shad Khan's eye. I don't know. He brought those guys back for in-person interviews, or at least his scheduled in-person interviews with Robert Saleh and Patrick Graham. And, Joe Brady can speak again after the AFC Championship game. You got another window for those coordinators. So Cliff Kingsbury, he said, if you want to talk to him, you're going to have to hope Washington loses this week, because he has said he does not want to take any interviews until his team is out of it this time around. So we'll see where the coaching search extends to, if it does, in fact. But the ways to get on board today. Give us your reaction to the Jaguars finally parting ways with general manager Trent Baalke. With Tony Smith and Dylan Denmark, I'm Mike Dempsey. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today.
From the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL.
And now details on the sudden announcement that has captured the attention of the entire world, and the most fabulous prize one could wish for. A lifetime supply of
1010XL.
Hey, John, looking for the perfect family ride?
How about taking your family on a luxury ride with the all-new 2024 Cadillac Escalade?
That sounds amazing. If you're a loyal customer, you get $4,000 off. Or if you're new to Randy Marion, you can get a $3,000 Conquest discount.
And don't forget the 5% savings on retired courtesy transportation vehicles.
You can save over $10,000 on select 2024 Escalade.
Experience the luxury and comfort at Randy Marion Cadillac.
Randy Marion Cadillac, Southside Boulevard, Jacksonville.
Plus tax tag title $899 admin fee and resist all on approved credit.
Are you an experienced chiller technician and looking for a role where your skills are truly valued? It's time to make the move to Local 234, plumbers, pipe fitters, and HVAC technicians. You'll get top pay, comprehensive health and welfare benefits for your family, and a pension that doesn't come out of your pocket. Join the team that's got your back. Local 234, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit UA234.com to send your resume today.
Equal opportunity employer.
Hey, it's Matt Hayes. Around this time last year, I was celebrating. Why? Because I had reached my goal of dropping 40 pounds with Awaken 180. It felt great. We all set goals, but most times we don't have a plan to hit them, so it's not really a goal. I'd call it more of a wish, and we know how that saying goes. With Awaken 180, I didn't wish the weight away. I had a plan, and this time, I knew I'd reach my goal, and I did it. 40 pounds gone in just 2 months. Simple. That was a year ago, and I haven't put on a pound. How do I feel? Like $1 million. Like the horizon line that looked so far away all those years is now right in front of me. And it's a brand new day. And it's time to seize it. Night and day from where I felt carrying around all that weight, having to untuck my shirts, winded trying to tie my shoes. If you're overweight, you know what I mean. Set your goal and know you'll reach it with the solution for weight loss. Call 844-346-1800 or online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Jaguars Today Thursday is towed by Cannons of Jacksonville.
Rick Ballou for Carlson Dental. I've been telling you this for quite some time because it's true. I hate going to the dentist, or at least I used to hate going to the dentist. I had total anxiety, and then I tried sedation, light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation as well for cavities and root canals. Folks, it's an incredible experience. So don't be nervous. Don't be scared. Go to carlsondentalgroup.com. That's carlsondentalgroup.com for all of your dental needs.
Mia O'Brien.
Don't I know you from somewhere?
On Helmets and Heels, noon to 2.
I swear to you, I know her.
Then there's the 1010XL video and social media channels.
I would know her voice anywhere.
All Things Mia is driven by Arlington Toyota.
On 1010XL.
At the First Coast YMCA, you'll find much more than just a gym. We offer many ways to help you be active, reach weight loss goals, and find your inner strength while you connect with your community. Family memberships at the Y include unlimited group exercise classes, childcare while you work out, and youth sports participation. It's easy to join the Y and affordable for all. Plus, the Y is a great place to meet a new circle of friends. Visit the Y near you or online at fcymca.org.
Denny Thompson here. Tyson Sound and Security has a huge prize sweepstakes now through the big game. I'm talking a 75-inch loaded Samsung TV with 3D surround sound, a sound bar with wireless subwoofer, and installation is included. Stop by the new showroom, check out the setup, and drop your name in the box for your chance to win the $2,500 prize now through February 9th. Tyson Sound and Security now at 3555 U.S. Highway 17 in Fleming, Iowa.
Hey, gang, Prosser here. Are you struggling to sell your home? How long has it been sitting on the market? Are you tired of being tired of trying to sell your home? Go to The Guarantee. ChadandSandy.com. I've been telling you about Chad and Sandy literally for years now. And here's the Chad and Sandy guarantee. You want a guarantee? Your home sold Guaranteed, or they will buy it. That's right. The agreed upon asking price, the agreed upon deadline, sold by that, or they buy it. How much more of a promise do you need? The only local real estate experts I trust and recommend with the sale of your home. No required costly repairs. Pick your move date. No long-term contracts. You can cancel at any time. And again, guarantee your home sold at an agreed upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. Pete in Lakeshore said, I was in a pickle. I needed cash out on a rental property fast, and I was struggling to rent. I heard Chad and Sandy on the radio and called. I had an offer for full asking price within days. These guys made it easy and delivered big-time results. It's what they do. Call Chad and Sandy today, 414-6200, or chadandsandy.com.
Hi, this is Dave Barker. Want to grow your hair back?
IHRS, right here in Jacksonville, is the only hair transplant clinic in the country that offers multi-unit hair grafting, FUE NeoGraft hair transplants, and the 45-minute effective PRP treatments.
Multi-unit hair grafting gave me more hair in one procedure and within my budget.
Thank you, IHRS.
IHRS showed me what was causing my hair loss and helped stop it.
Schedule a free evaluation and find out how to grow your hair back and keep the hair you have. Call 904-777-IHRS. Take the first step to restoring your hair today. Visit hairforme.com.
Now my hair will grow for the rest of my life. Thanks, IHRS.
IHRS has been restoring hair for men and women for over 30 years.
Call now for a free in-person or virtual evaluation. 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Or visit hair4me.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Never would have made it.
Jaguars today on 1010XL.
Never could have made it.
All right, Trent Baalke is out as the general manager of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I got to say, though, I was wrong. I thought for sure Shad's not going to change his mind. Right? I mean,
certainly didn't expect it to happen yesterday.
If Ben Johnson didn't get him to change his mind, is Liam Coen going to get him to change his mind? I felt like he was dug in and rooted in, and at least this shows that he's not going to just be obstinate to be, obstinate for obstinace's sake. Yeah. Stubborn? I should have used stubborn. Anyway, whatever the case. So, granted, it is late. He doesn't exactly go to the cutting edge of what everyone's thinking is on his current general manager, but the deal finally got done. So I was wrong. I thought for sure that once he charted down that course, when he talked about, if somebody comes to me and gives me a better structure, I thought that was his out, because it's not going to be a new structure. It's going to be just a different guy in the same structure.
Yeah. Reporting
to the owner, but so is the head coach apparently going to report to the owner. At least that's the structure. And so, if you believe the rumors, Ben Johnson and Liam Coen both expressed interest in their own front office guy. Right. And, that Shad Khan didn't react to that until it was too late. And so maybe he learned a hard lesson.
And it felt like until I was with you, like I'm still surprised that that's the way that this played out yesterday, because it felt like up until yesterday when Shad actually made the decision that if Trent Baalke was going to move, it was going to be up. Right, like
some kind of EVP role or whatever.
Like, can you work with this guy as the GM? If there were one of the coaching candidates that they felt comfortable with a new GM, we'll move Trent Baalke up in the organization. He'll be the EVP, that kind of thing. It might reorganize the organization in that sense, right? But it would be Trent Baalke still in the building. That it took two coaches to say no, and who knows what ideas they had for they would like to work with a GM. I don't know. Like, I have no idea what those conversations were in the building, and they're working in other places now. If they never tell anyone, I wouldn't be surprised, right? If you never find out that they said, I want this, this, and this to go work here, why would anyone talk about that publicly at this point?
Yeah.
Right? Like, there's no reason for these guys to do that in their new spots. So you're probably not going to
call a press conference to say it, but that word gets out, in
hopefully
NFL circles.
You learn that kind of thing, but at this point, even that doesn't matter all that much. Baalke's fired.
At this point, right. I mean, he did all he could do yesterday, but again, he could have done it weeks earlier.
Could have done it 3 years ago. We'd all have been okay with it, right? But 2 weeks ago would have been fine. When you were having to replace the head coach, let's just do it. And the lunacy of him standing up there and say, what do you want me to fire all the health guys? Where are we?
Those guys are watching their back today, aren't they? Right? Because, we've decided a complete organizational overhaul is necessary. All right, let's get to these calls because we got Travis Holmes coming up. I don't want to delay it any longer. Get in, make your point, and we'll move along because we got a lot of people that want to make theirs as well. Taylor in Arlington gets up first today. Good morning, Taylor.
Hey, morning, guys. How's it going?
Good. What's up?
All right, so a couple quick things. I'll make it quick. If this isn't the typical Shad Khan incompetency, knee-jerk reaction, I don't know what is. If it wasn't for the fans, 30,000 fans at the last home game, 2 or 3 years ago, dressing up as clowns to embarrass them, it's now finally the two coaches that say we don't want to come here. I shouldn't feel as the NFL fan who knows just enough to be dangerous that I can run this organization better than the billionaire that owns it. And, another thing is it's just the principle. Ben Johnson can go down as the worst head coach of all time, but it's the principle that over and over and over again, Shad just doesn't know what he's doing, and you let the top candidate go, who unanimously, besides maybe Mike Vrabel, is the guy that we should have pushed all in on to go after and get. And, this might be a cold take, hot take, I don't know, but, you kind of hear people say, Tony Vaselli should come in and be GM. Well, he kind of really turned me off talking the other day, trying to defend Trent Baalke, like, well, you don't know why Ben Johnson didn't pick Jacksonville. Yeah, we all do, Tony. Come on. And, with him being the Jaguars legend, I just feel like it gives him more time. You can't be as scrutiny towards him as our GM. But, that's it. All I want to say. Appreciate the show. I'll take
all right. Thank you, Taylor. Really no comments. Just letting you speak for yourself this morning. I appreciate you weighing.
Hey, guys. Yeah. So I hope they bring in the right guy, but I'm hoping that they would give Steve Spagnuolo another interview because I know his first run back in 2009 with the Rams wasn't good, but this guy has, 3-4 Super Bowl rings. He's been with the Chiefs since 2019, constantly in the AFC Championship game, constantly in the Super Bowl, and his defense is always successful. Plus, he's learned from Andy Reid since that time and going up against Patrick Mahomes. I think he'll bring in a good offensive coordinator. We got some really good pieces on defense that he can coach up. I think maybe we should look at Steve again.
All right. Look, they've obviously looked at him one time. He's doing a great job this year and for the last couple of years, with his coordination of the Kansas City defense. But Tone, I'd just rather go on the offensive side. Mm-hmm. Now, if you're going to go on the defensive side, yeah, I think you could look at Spagnuolo and say, okay, he did have a poor go-around the first time. Neil O'Brien brought up an interview that Cliff Kingsbury did, talking about learning what he didn't even know he didn't know the first time he became a head coach. So I do believe you can learn from your mistakes. Would Robert Saleh be as highly regarded on this list if he hadn't coached here in Jacksonville already? If you're going to go on the defensive side, has anybody been better than Spagnuolo? I'm just partial to having an offensive guy to try to maximize what you've got in Trevor Lawrence, whatever that turns out to be. But thank you, Jay. Appreciate the call. Certainly not an outrageous suggestion. Matt and Callahan, you're up next. Go ahead, Matt.
Hey, fellas. How y'all doing?
All right, man.
So I got a question, kind of a thought. Baloo made a comment about it last night. How important is Trevor into this? Because everybody's blaming Baalke on Ben Johnson not coming here, going to Chicago. But maybe he liked the upside in Chicago with his quarterback situation better. And whatever they laid out on the table, I don't know, like the closed-door stuff I get. But how important is it the next coach that comes in here can maximize what Trevor can do, not the hottest guy on the table? Because in all honesty, we're stuck with him to 2030, something like that.
Why?
So that's important in the whole deal of it.
Oh, you mean Trevor? Well, no, they're not stuck with Trevor.
Contract-wise, we have him.
I get you, right? But contracts get all right, Matt. Contracts get changed a lot in the NFL, right? Yeah. So I think you made your point. Yeah. Yes, it is important to get the most out of Trevor, and the hot guy and getting the most out of Trevor sometimes can be the same guy, and that's the perception of what Ben Johnson is. He is the guy who's not only the hot candidate, but he's the hot candidate because he can maximize your quarterback. Yeah. And maximize your offense.
That was the excitement about Ben Johnson becoming the new coach, and it was why Ben Johnson had options, and it always felt like Vegas should be the third of the three options because the other two had young quarterbacks that he could build around. And I think Ben Johnson based on everything I've heard about the whole process,
multiple times
very excited about working with either of the quarterbacks he could have worked. He would everything you heard him say in Chicago. If you replace the word Caleb Williams with Trevor Lawrence, every time he used that name, he would have said the exact same thing if he got hired in Jacksonville and had the same level of excitement. It's not him choosing. He was like, I can do way more with Caleb than I can Trevor. That's nonsense. Whatever was going on in Jacksonville, partly the guy that got thrown out of the door yesterday, if that guy had been thrown out 2 weeks ago, I think Ben likely would have wound up the head coach
I do too.
in Jacksonville, but that's not the process. So, no, I don't think Trevor Lawrence got in the way of them hiring Ben Johnson. I think Trent Baalke did, ultimately, and that's why he's not the head coach right now. Whether he's going to be the right guy for Chicago or anyone, time will tell on that.
Look, Ben Johnson has kind of turned his nose up at some other opportunities in the past.
Absolutely.
He agreed to at least interview here, so there had to be some level. Anyway, I'm not going to – I think you've said it, Tony. Everything we've heard, and we've heard it multiple times, on and off the record from guys that know Ben Johnson, that he was not only okay with, but somewhat enamored with the idea of working with Trevor Lawrence.
Yes.
So, and contracts, it doesn't matter how long the contract is. I mean, there's always an out in a contract, okay? If you're willing to bite the bullet on the dead money cap hit at some point in time. Let me get Cheryl and Mandarin before we break. Cheryl, go ahead, please.
Good morning, guys. I just want to say the straw that broke the camel's back, we need to send a big thank you gift to Tampa for Coen for finally letting Shad Khan wake up. And had he taken the job, we'd still probably have Baalke. Have a good day.
I think you're right. We probably still would. Thank you.
If Baalke had gotten the guy, he'd still be here.
What do you think, little miniature camels? Or, like, you're the straw that broke this back. I don't know. I don't know what would be appropriate. I'll leave that up to Jaguar fandom to decide. All right, we got to take a break here. We'll come back. We got Travis Holmes from Big Cat Country weighing in on the Jags offseason, including the most recent news, less than 24 hours old, that Trent Baalke is no longer the general manager of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Next hour, Pete Prisco will stop by as well from CBS Sports. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today for the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios.
When it comes to towing products, your safety on the road is the priority at Cannons of Jacksonville. Whether it's a heavy-duty tow hitch, trailer frame, wiring, gooseneck, tow bar, or any other towing accessory, Cannons has decades of experience to ensure your towing setup is installed with precision and reliability. Visit cannonsofjacks.com to explore a range of products and schedule your installation. Cannons of Jacksonville, your trusted partner for a smoother tow.
Hey gang, Prosser here, and I've been telling you for years about Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. Lifetime Enclosures right now running an awesome special for January. Get a complete enclosure done, get free flooring. Now that can save you some money. If you just need flooring, Lifetime Flooring also running a buy one room, get the second room free. Once again, only for January. Now offering flooring coating as well. So give them a call. I know I did. Visit their showrooms just off Phillips Highway. Proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Jaguars Today, Thursday.
Brought to you by Cannons of Jacksonville.
Is your dog Team Rough or Team Fluff? It's officially Puppy Bowl season at Dogtopia Beach in St. John's Bluff. They're getting MVPs, most valuable pups, ready for the big game. Your dog deserves a tail-wagging day of fun, and Dogtopia's indoor playrooms are the perfect training ground for their game day moment. Get your dog in on all the action by visiting Dogtopia of Jacksonville, Beach Boulevard in St. John's Bluff. New to the pack? Enjoy a free day of daycare. Mention Puppy Bowl when booking to claim the offer.
Before the Great American Race on Sunday, the high banks of Daytona heat up with a Saturday night showdown in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Experience the intense competition up close on the sport's biggest stage to kick off the 2025 season. The NASCAR Xfinity Series at Daytona International Speedway, Saturday, February 15th. Tickets start at just $49, and kids 12 and under are free in general admission. Secure your seats now at DaytonaInternationalSpeedway.com.
Mia here. Since 1982, Closets by Design has specialized in creating dream spaces for every budget. My designer, Frances, made the process so easy. She came to my house and designed a walk-in closet that's not only beautiful, but also incredibly functional for me and old Bo Valentine. Call today to schedule your free in-home consultation at 800-293-3744. Hey, and if you mention Mia or Helmets and Heels, you'll qualify for free base molding. Call today or visit closetsbydesign.com.
David Garrard could really spin it on the field.
Garrard fires.
Now he's spinning stories on Jaguars Today.
Okay, yeah.
Brought to you by waterboyjax.com. Mondays, 10 to noon on 1010XL.
Facing a DUI charge or even a boating under the influence charge? Well, I'm your man, DUI lawyer Malcolm Anthony at 285-4LAW. 285-4LAW. Once again, 285-4LAW.
Mia here. When it comes to roofing, whether it be shingles, metal, or most repairs, there is one name that has protected your home since 1999. Pro Jags Roofing. Serving all of Northeast Florida, Mike and his guys have been repairing and replacing roofs for 25 years. Need insurance help? Mike's team can help. Raised in a military family, Mike provides great attention to detail with unparalleled quality and workmanship. They also have warranties, so you can have peace of mind. Call Mike today for a free estimate or online at projacksroofingfl.com.
Jacksonville. When AEW returns home, it is the biggest party in all of professional wrestling.
Daily's Place, the home of AEW.
And on Saturday, January 25th, Collision returns live. It's a new year and a whole new era in AEW. And there's no better time to experience the excitement than right now. AEW Collision Homecoming, live from Daily's Place in Jacksonville, Florida. Tickets on sale now, starting at $20 at AEWTIX.com.
Looking for a great place to enjoy some craft creations and soak up some scenery? Fernandina's Mocama Beer Company is a must-see and must-try. Nassau County knows it. Visitors need to find out about it. Mocama means near the big water where the sun is born. And if you visit their tap room in Fernandina Beach, you'll see how they've mastered equal parts precision and art in creating great flavors from IPAs to Pilsners, lagers, and sours, plus plenty more. Mocama.com, Mocama Beer Company. Start an adventure and find them in Fernandina.
I'm Clayton Bromberg, the chairman of Underwoods. With Christmas behind us and 2025 here, the last thing you want to hear is somebody trying to sell you something. That's why at Underwoods, we'd like to just stop and say thank you to all the people that came in our stores over the last year. Whether you bought from us or not, we want to thank you for coming by and giving us the chance to help. You know, in North Florida, there are a lot of people trying to sell you jewelry. But at Underwoods, we consider it an honor for somebody to come in and just give us that chance to help. And if we do a good job, we might get a chance to serve again. Having served North Florida since 1928, all of us here understand what a customer really gives us during that visit to Underwoods, their trust. And it's up to us to do everything we can to keep it. So on behalf of everybody on the Underwood team, thanks again for coming into our stores. And we wish each of you a happy new year.
Yo, this is Tony from Tony D's. Are you looking for a great slice of pizza? Well, we have about 12 varieties. Most places won't have slices of pizza after lunch. At Tony D's, you can get a slice all day. It's always fresh at Tony D's Pizza. Bay Meadows and 295.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
We can wiggle it. Now, more Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right, Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, Dylan Denmark here with you. Jaguars Today. Pete Prisco, about 40 minutes away from right now, joining us from CBS Sports, but making his, I believe, Jaguars Today debut, Travis Holmes from Big Cat Country, joining us right now on the program. Travis, we appreciate you taking some time out with the fellas this morning. How are things with you?
Oh, I am on cloud nine, not just because I cover the team, but as a fan of the team. This is like a Victory Monday, sir.
I thought about giving out T-shirts. I really did, but it's being that it's a Thursday.
When the news broke yesterday, it was like, do I wear the shirt tomorrow?
I thought about it too, Tony. I thought about the same thing with our Victory Monday shirts. Travis, let me ask you this question to start off with. Okay, let's presume that forget about the Ben Johnson ship. Maybe he chooses here, maybe he chooses Chicago, whatever. All right. If Liam Coen was the apple of the Jaguars' eye in this coaching search, as many presumed he was, as it went on once Ben Johnson chose Chicago. Are the Jags better off today missing out on Coen and not having Baalke than if Coen had agreed to take the job this week?
Without a doubt. And I know others may argue, they may disagree. I'm sorry. I've always been on this train that a general manager, that their life cycle is just way longer than a head coach. It just is what it is. Again, Trent Baalke had the opportunity to hire 3 coaches, and not just here, but also in San Francisco, multiple coaches there. So the fact of the matter is the Jacksonville Jaguars finally have the opportunity to have a clean slate, rebuild. Hopefully they get it right this time, as far as their structure, as far as their process, et cetera. But they are absolutely, without a question, in a better situation now with the opportunity to do better moving forward. I just hope that they grab that by the tails and kind of take that opportunity and kind of build upon it.
Do you think the Jaguars will be hiring a new general manager from outside of the building, or that Ethan Waugh will fulfill that role for at least 2025?
Gosh, I hope not. This is not an indictment on Ethan, because I actually do believe he is seriously qualified, and I actually was a fan of his hiring when he came into Jacksonville. But we finally have a chance for a clean slate situation with the outside counsel, an outside point of view, outside thoughts, and just having a fresh start. I really hope that they can find a good situation where you have a head coach who was in alignment with the incoming general manager, and they can kind of just get them hired at the same time. I have a few options in my head, at least, where I think that could potentially work out, and I wanted to kind of hear your guys' thoughts on that.
Well, yeah, I'd like to hear yours. So I know you tweeted a list of your personal favorites for the GM job for the Jaguars opening, okay? And I don't know if it's going to, my guess is that Ethan Waugh is going to help Shad Khan oversee this hiring process. I don't think they're going to start up a whole GM search from scratch and put everything on pause with these coaches. I think they're going to hire a coach first, is my guess. But give us the 2 or 3 guys at the top of your list and why you like them.
I actually do agree with you that they're probably going to go that route, just because the coaching, the pool of coaches is kind of drying up at this point. But you have a few options as far as maybe Will McClay, the Cowboys VP of player personnel, if you are able to pair him with someone like Kellen Moore, because they have that alignment, they already have that working relationship. Terrence Gray, Bill's director of player personnel, pairing him with Joe Brady, again. They have that relationship, and they would potentially be in alignment if they are in agreement. And maybe even Todd Monken and Ian Coen, the Bears' assistant GM, because they have all those associates and those common associates. They haven't directly worked together, but they both have spent significant time in Baltimore. So I think those 3, if you're looking for a pairing where you're going to hire your head coach first, those could work out, and you still be better off for it.
With where the process is right now, when would you expect the Jaguars to announce their next head coach?
That is the question. They can attack this in so many different ways. But if you're assuming that they're going to hire that head coach first, I guess it's just going to come down to who they prefer. Like if they truly are interested in bringing a culture guy in, then you're going to be still a few weeks out realistically, because they're still going to want to talk to Kellen Moore, Joe Brady. So it depends on one of those guys falling out of the playoffs. But if they don't, then you're still looking into realistically at the earliest probably next week, if not a few weeks out. So this is not going to be a quick fix just because of the bad start process.
Here with Travis Holmes from Big Cat Country. Let's presume that Liam Coen doesn't have a change of heart and he is off the table right now. Who is your preferred coaching candidate from, whether it's one they've spoken with or one that you think is still potentially in play?
Jeez, we are so far down on the list at this point. Because again, my current 2, the top 2, obviously, I think for most people was Ben Johnson, Liam Coen, and everyone else. Kind of, you can jockey, you can fight and figure that out, and it's fine. I am a huge Patrick Graham fan, and it stinks because I know no one gives him the credit that he deserves because they just don't know who he is. From the Bill Belichick tree, you talk to anyone around the league, they'll let you know, he is a football savant. He is a genius in very many ways. He's like I'll say Brian Flores without the baggage, without the negative, connotation that's associated because of his time in Miami. I would consider him something like the Ben Johnson of defense, if that makes sense. And people just don't give him credit. He has time under Steve Spagnuolo. He's had time under Bill Belichick. We were talking time under Brian Flores. He's done really well with that Raiders defense, and his resume is honestly matches up with Aaron Glenn, who was in the top 2 or 3 with a lot of other fans. So I'm a big fan of him, even though people don't really think he has a legitimate opportunity for Jacksonville. But if you need a defensive coordinator type of head coach who can build that culture, I think he's a solid guy. But if you're going offense, it's probably going to be someone like a Joe Brady, in my opinion.
What plan could you hear from one of these coaching candidates regarding Trevor Lawrence that you think would make you excited to move forward with them as the coach? We know it's going to be part of the process of whoever they bring in. What do they want to do with Trevor? What's their plan for what to do with him going forward? What could they tell you that would get you excited about that plan?
I mean, that's really going to be the argument, because the quarterback right now who is probably closest to what Trevor Lawrence likes to do, go deep, run the ball, run the game from shotgun and a lot of play action from under center, it's probably going to be someone closer to Josh Allen. Like, he's not going to run the ball like him in those ways, but as far as how their skill set and as far as how they operate, or prefer to operate, I should say, it's probably going to be someone like a Joe Brady giving you that same sales pitch. I don't know that Kellen Moore is going to be able to give you that same pitch, just because I don't know that he's going to necessarily be able to show you proof of concept unless he's going back to his Dallas Cowboys days with Dak Prescott. And maybe that's kind of fair a comparison as far as Dak versus Trevor. That might actually work out, but I just don't know how that sale would work, to Ethan and to Shad. So that would probably get me most excited if you use the words Josh Allen and say, hey, I can do what I did with this Buffalo Bills team, and I can just kind of carbon copy that and place that over here in Jacksonville, and I think we can get this thing rocking. I would be a little bit of a fan of that. Otherwise, again, with Kellen Moore, you've seen the successes, but you've seen the failures, so there's some risk there. So I'm not sure how I'll feel about that piece.
I forget who Mia O'Brien was quoting or referencing yesterday when one thing that struck me, she said that she heard last year during the cycle, like coaches sometimes, it's a leap from being a coordinator to a head coach. And he seemed to be the guy that did not seem to have all his ducks in a row during last year's cycle in terms of his plan to oversee an entire football team. I don't know Joe Brady from Adam. He would be high on my list, but we're not privy to how these interviews go and how they come off and all that. But I would not mind if that's where it ended up, provided that he does have, everything on board in terms of mentally running a team. But Travis, your opinion just of Trevor Lawrence, I'd like to know. Do you think that if they get the right combination of coaching in here, that he can turn into a consistent top 10 quarterback, top 15, top 5? What do you think his ceiling is, and how confident are you that he's going to reach it?
Okay, so if we're talking potential, we're talking ceiling, I think he easily has the potential to be a top 10 quarterback. Again, I think we've seen evidence that, all right, if you give him a supporting cast, you give him just not a bottom barrel run game, a bottom barrel offensive line as far as just picking up and keeping an efficient offense, that he can be a top guy in the league as far as maybe top 10. His ceiling probably is top 5, but we can't even put evidence to that simply because of the supporting cast that's been placed around him, the stagnant offense that's been given to him, from both Urban Meyer years and the Doug Peterson years, and then most recently the just terrible defense. That's just across the board. He hasn't been giving the structure that is necessary and needed to kind of succeed. But at the same time, we've seen those flashes. We haven't seen the consistency, and I think that's fair to put on Trevor. We do need to see that, but we also need to see some consistency as far as the front office, as far as the coaching staff, as far as everyone around him. So I think the world of Trevor. I also know he does need to improve, and he has in some areas, but also failing in others. And I would just love to see the people around him rise up just a little bit. Just give him just an average run game. And at that point, I think it'll be fair to at least criticize who he is and what he can become, because we're currently on that Andrew Luck kind of slope where he has the tools, but if you're not going to support him and give him things, he's going to be out of the league at 30. Like, he's going to be take his money and run. Like, and rightfully so. You should, if you have that kind of ability and you have a family to take care of. So I think the world of him, but I also need them to just be, just give him average. I'm not asking for the world. Just give him an average OC, an average O-line, an average defense, and I think he can raise the ceiling for this Jacksonville Jaguars organization.
What is your opinion of Shad Khan as an owner?
Oh, he tries. he tries. I want to give him credit that he said he'd be open to replacing Baalke if a prospective head coach gave him a credible reason. He did that. It just took him a year and 16 days longer than necessary. He's great on the business side of things, and you'd expect that coming from corporate America. However, he is not great at this whole owning an NFL franchise and running it for a successful on-field product. He, unfortunately, has trusted the wrong people, and I've seen people say, hey, this is a piggy bank for him. This is a hobby, all these other things that I frankly don't agree with. I actually do believe that the man does care. I think he just doesn't have the tools to do what's necessary here. And we're 13 years in. So per his own exit interview, he doesn't surround himself with folks who don't work for him, that understand what it takes to build a successful franchise. And I just pray he corrects that. I hope he corrects this issue moving forward, because he leaned on the one person that was clearly the problem here. He leaned on the one person that was clearly the problem in Dave Caldwell, and he's kind of just doubled down on that same issue over and over. And he needs a search firm. He needs better people. Who are your people that you lean on outside of the organization? We're 13 years in, and we still don't have a good answer for that.
Yeah, and the fact that he did move on from Baalke yesterday indicates he was at least somewhat open to it. But I got to believe if it went down the way it's being reported, not necessarily putting names to it, but that Liam Coen let the Jags know that he wanted his own guy, whether it was John Spytek or somebody else coming in as the general manager. I think Shad just thought, we'll call his bluff. And Baalke probably fed into that, like, don't worry. What? He has no other job options out there to be a head coach. He's going to take the job. Shad, just be cool. Let's wait a day. We'll talk to him tomorrow. He'll be our next head coach. And then I think that's what happened. I think Shad probably didn't think that – he thought that Liam Coen would blink, and he didn't. And ultimately that kind of forced his hand at that point. Beyond that, what's the number one off-season – issue for the roster that you want to see addressed? One position, one player, one whatever.
I am a DB at heart. I'm a former defensive back for the University of Central Florida. I'm always going to say, especially with this Jacksonville Jaguars roster right now, defensive back. We're talking safety and one of the cornerback spots I have major questions on. And if you can't stop teams from scoring, you can't win. I'd rather win 17-3 than lose. So that's where I'm looking at right now. Those two safety spots, well, mainly Prisco. Who is he? Is he the 2023 guy? Is he the 2024 guy that put on weight that seemed a little bit slower? I don't know who he is or even what scheme they're going to run. So I'm fully focused on rebuilding that secondary, figuring out what they're going to do there, and then maybe, giving Trevor a few toys to work with.
That would be good, too. All right, you can find Travis out there on the X or Twitter platform at Travis D. Holmes, and you can also find him working on the digital pages of BigCatCountry.com. Travis, we appreciate the perspective and the insight today. Thanks for your time, and look forward to catching up with you again soon.
Thank you, fellas.
Thank you, buddy. There he goes, Travis Holmes, of Big Cat Country, weighing in with his thoughts on where things stand. I really do. I think Shad was probably convinced by Trent Baalke that Liam Coen would blink and he would take the job. And then when he didn't, Shad finally had a reckoning that, wait a minute, maybe everything that Trent tells me isn't accurate. Right. I don't know what – I mean, I'm not in his head. We're all having to guess the thought process behind what's going on with Shad Khan. But too little, too late. It's late. Is it too late? Let's find out, right? I'm still – look, if Baalke had remained, Tony, I was going to hope that the next coach came in and did a hell of a job and the Jags were back in the playoffs anyway. Not going to change what my hope is going forward. I
wasn't going to be one of those, fans out there that was like, well, I hope they're as miserable as they can be next year so that we can just clean it finally. Right? Like, I was never going to be on board for that kind of thing, and now, thankfully, no one has to be.
Right. Well, unless you choose to be, and that's up to you. All right. Coming back, Tony will take us around the rest of the National Football League. Pete Prisco, about 25 minutes away. If you want to get in, 641-1010 on the Garber Automall phone lines. What is your reaction to the Jaguars parting ways with general manager Trent Baalke. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for Lickety Split. No matter what the temperature is outside, you want to regulate the temperature inside your house properly. And when your AC goes out, you need help now, like right now, like Lickety Split. Call Lickety Split. You'll get same-day emergency service, not only for your air conditioning. They can handle your home's plumbing and electrical, too, with dozens of certified technicians ready to roll all over town. They'll get to you, and they'll get to you fast, like Lickety Split. When you need it done right, and you need it done right now, call Lickety Split.
Jaguars Today from the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL.
Big moment.
Play-by-play is full of plot twists.
Did that just happen?
And high-octane drama.
And this game is tied.
Experience the most play-by-play sports on 1010XL.
Got a cracked windshield? Not only is it dangerous, but did you know it's also illegal? Call Baker Glass. Mac and his crew use the best auto glass in the market, and they accept most insurance. Plus, all new windshields come with a full warranty. From cars to trucks to RVs, you can count on Baker Glass to be fast and friendly. Just check out their Google reviews. Come see us at the shop on Casta Avenue, or we can come to you at your home or business.
I'm back with Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
From one sports fan to another, this is Andrew Gibson with 1010XL, and now is the time to order your Valentine's flowers from Coen Flowers. Do it today, and you won't be scrambling at the last minute. CoenFlowers.com.
You're locked in to Jaguars Today, Thursday, with
Cannons of Jacksonville.
Denny Thompson here. Tyson Sound and Security has a huge prize sweepstakes now through the big game. I'm talking a 75-inch loaded Samsung TV with 3D surround sound, a soundbar with wireless subwoofer, and installation is included. Stop by the new showroom, check out the setup, and drop your name in the box for your chance to win the $2,500 prize now through February 9th. Tyson Sound and Security now at 3555 U.S. Highway 17 in Fleming Island.
Rev up your life with luxury at Vaughn Motor Group on San Jose Boulevard. Right now, used car prices are 12% lower than their peak in April of 2022, making this the perfect time to drive home in a dream car. Specializing in luxury used vehicles, offering you elegance at prices that are finally coming back down to earth. See special listings in the newspaper every Saturday or online at vaughnmotorgroup.com for a complete inventory listing. If you can dream it, you can drive it at Vaughn Motor Group.
This is the Mangler. Years of playing football coupled with lifestyle left my feet mangled with neuropathy. I was experiencing burning, tingling, and numbness. I spoke with 2 foot specialists, and they told me there was no cure. They were wrong. I found Dr. Nate Riddle in Ponte Vedra. After utilizing his neuropathy treatment for only 2 weeks, I noticed a difference in my feet. I was regaining my feeling and balance. If you want relief from nerve pain, call Dr. Nate for a free consultation at Riddle Wellness, 904-395-5598.
Mia here for Dream Finders Homes. For a limited time to ring in the new year, Dream Finders Homes is offering an amazing 4.99% fixed interest rate. Now is your chance to lock down the rate and get in the game. You heard me right, a 4.99 fixed interest rate on select move-in ready homes. Visit dreamfindershomes.com for sales event information and get in the game. Interest rate available on select move-in ready homes. Restrictions and limitations apply. Go to dreamfindershome.com for more details.
Find out why soccer is the most popular game in the world and spreading fast on the First Coast.
On the Sporty Jack Soccer Hour.
Join Cole Pepper, Mauricio Ruiz, and Becky Burley as they discuss the latest in the world of soccer.
Tuesday nights at 6.
On 1010 a.m., home of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Hey gang, Prosser here. If you think you have problems related to the need to sell your home, we have solutions. And by we, I don't mean me. I mean ChadandSandy.com. That's Chad, A-N-D, Sandy.com. Call them today at 904-414-6200. Look, the problems could fall into a variety of areas. Maybe you want guaranteed no-hassle home sale, but don't want to give up hard-earned equity to do it. Maybe you need more space with a growing family. Doesn't matter what the problems are. You go to Chad and Sandy. Those problems are fixed. With all the recent talk about interest rates and economic uncertainty, you may be wondering if now is the right time to sell your home. Will you get the price you need? What about repairs or showings? The good news, you don't have to figure it out by yourself. You call my agents, Chad and Sandy Newman. They will deliver. Your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. No required costly repairs. Pick your move date. No long-term contracts. The success stories are rolling in from all over town. Find out for yourself. Call Chad and Sandy today. That's ChadAndSandy.com.
How much do the performers for Super Bowl halftime shows get paid?
Filing an insurance claim following a storm shouldn't be an ordeal. Southern Oak Insurance's claim team prepares for catastrophic situations well in advance. Log on to southernoak.com.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
Super Bowl performers are not paid for their shows, but production costs are covered by the NFL, which could go as high as $15 million.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
Hey, Hicken here with a message from Zero Res. Guess what? We love rugs. We'll treat your fine Oriental rugs with tender, loving care they deserve. How about Gerard, the Zero Res rug cleaning manager, one of the few certified master rug cleaners in the state of Florida? If you want your rugs cleaned with tender, loving care, call Zero Res. Right now, have one rug washed and we'll wash a second rug free. That's right. Buy one, the second one on me. Zero Res. Spell it forwards or backwards. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res.
AA Automotive helps keep your vehicle in dependable and safe condition. Call Sam, Harry, or Joe, and they'll check your brakes, tires, fluids, electric, and motor, so your ride runs smooth on the road. That's AA Automotive on Richard Street.
This is Molly McDonald with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist Local Sports Update, brought to you by Southern Oak Insurance. The Jaguars' first-round pick, Brian Thomas Jr., finished with a phenomenal rookie campaign and is now being awarded as he's the latest player named to the 2025 Pro Bowl. BTJ fills in for Ravens wide receiver Zay Flowers, who will not participate due to injury. Thomas Jr. will join long snapper Ross Matisick and punter Logan Cook as the representatives for the Jags in Orlando. Down in Orlando tonight, the Magic get back at home and try to get back in the winning column when they host the Portland Trail Blazers at 7. Magic's head coach Jamal Mosley on defending home court.
It's huge right now in these moments. Our guys' ability to go home, get some rest, regroup, reset, and got a tough game in Portland coming in, and I think we've got to get our minds locked into that. This one stings in this moment right now, but we've got to learn from it. How can we continue to work on putting 48 minutes of basketball together?
It's 36 degrees at 11 o'clock. Time in temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Everything you need to know about the Jags. Jaguars today on 1010XL.
Denmark's never heard this song until right now.
No, Cousin Al sent me a tweet this morning.
Oh,
said,
he did?
play this
Okay.
song.
Well, he showed you, right, before today, you've never heard this song in your life.
No, sir.
I'm guessing. All right. Let's check. It is appropriate. Goodbye to you. So, Travis Holmes talking about wanting to fix up the secondary, right? Which I think a lot of people, safety is my biggest concern position. Doesn't mean I want to spend the 5th pick in the draft on it. Don't get me wrong. There's sometimes positions that are, more rare, harder to fill. Anyway, so somebody on the text line goes, hey, both Eagles corners, the rookies, are up for Defensive Rookie of the Year. Makes me want to puke. Okay, well, Brian Thomas Jr. is up for Offensive Rookie of the Year. Yeah. You got your choice. Who do you want? You want BTJ? You want Quinion Mitchell? Or do you want Cooper DeJean? I'll take Brian Thomas Jr. All day. I'll take the wide receiver over the corner. All day. All day. They had their choice, Tony. They traded back, and when they finally traded back where they ultimately ended up selecting Brian Thomas Jr., Quinion Mitchell came off the board. Had BTJ gone, he might have been the pick for the Jags. Mm-hmm. But I'm not upset at all with what went down in the first round last year. No. And you can't have everything, and that's, so.
Yeah, and the Eagles were expected to be good, and they lived up to it. Jacksonville was expected to at least be okay, and they didn't. Right? So that's what should make you want to puke. Not that the Eagles got 2 corners and you got a wide receiver, right? It's that the Eagles lived up to what they could be this year and are playing the NFC Championship game. Jacksonville obviously fell woefully short of that and preparing to replace their head coach and their GM and pick 5th in the NFL draft.
Yes. All right. Pete Prisco coming up to weigh in on all of this in less than 15 minutes. So let's take a few of those minutes and go around the rest of the NFL.
Now, gems around the NFL. Brought to you by Beaches Jewelry and Pawn in Jacks Beach.
The New York Jets and Detroit defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn have a deal for him to become the Jets' next head coach. The Las Vegas Raiders are expected to be hiring Tampa Bay assistant GM John Spytek as their general manager. Philadelphia quarterback Jalen Hurts and cornerback Quentin Mitchell were both limited at practice for the Eagles on Wednesday after having injuries they suffered last weekend. Kansas City head coach Andy Reid said on Wednesday that wide receiver Mecole Hardman will be remaining on the team's IR. His season is now done. Tennessee general manager Mike Borgonzi left all his options open at his press conference on Wednesday regarding the Titans' #1 pick in the upcoming NFL draft, saying that the Titans won't pass up on a generational talent with the pick and that they are open to trading out of the spot. So I guess they would be passing on a generational talent by trading out of the spot?
Or if they don't think that anyone is a truly generational talent.
I guess so.
Right? Yeah. I mean, it could be that as well. Look, they're covering all their bases in case they stick and pick. Then we could say, well, we took Travis Hunter because, I mean, when have you seen anything like this? And
Absolutely.
It's true. We haven't seen anything like it to the extent of what he did going this deep on both sides of the ball, at least not in my lifetime. And, that seems like, is Abdul Carter or Mason Graham or any of these other guys in the generational category? Does anyone even... I
haven't heard that about...
I haven't either.
Like approaching that with these guys.
Right. So, I mean, if you want to stick and say we're going to take Travis Hunter because he's just a unique player and
yeah. Look, and we've, the last couple of weeks, we've really dug into the draft process, and everyone we've talked to, here over the first couple of weeks of us doing this, when we ask about Hunter and whether you feel like he's more a wide receiver or a corner, or where would he rank among those if he was just one or the other, where would he rank? And everyone we talked to had said he'd be the top corner or wide receiver in the draft if that's all he was.
Right.
Right, but he's both. So you'd have to figure out what you want to do with him. You can move him around to different places, and I don't know what that's going to look like in the NFL, but it does sound like regardless, if you just drafted him as a corner, you'd be getting the best corner in the class, or you'd be getting the best wide receiver in the class if that's all you wanted to do with him, but he can do more.
Right, if that's, in fact, what you truly feel. If you're only going to use him that way. It would be kind of silly to take him in the top 5 and not at least use him somewhat and let him – I mean, he's a unique talent.
Yes.
And his ability and his durability to be able to do what he did, that look like the Jags will likely have that option for themselves.
Yeah. And as we've talked about, Dion was a unique talent for that kind of thing as well, and he was still used very sparingly on offense his whole career.
Right, but it is also a different era. Dion wasn't an offensive player at Florida State, right?
Sure.
And he gets in the league, and he was a phenomenal athlete, and he I'm so good, you got to have me on the field, but they sprinkled him in. Travis Hunter's the freaking Biletnikoff Award winner.
Yeah.
And he's a DB, by upbringing, so to speak. So anyway, again, don't think we're going to have the opportunity. Maybe in next week's 7-round mock, Tony, I'll get the chance to take Travis Hunter. And I've got to do at least one or two where I'm taking corner with that selection. So if he falls to me, and occasionally he does, but those are mocks, and they mean nothing. But the fact that that's already in play, I think, yes, you don't want to give away what you're thinking.
No.
But at the same time, if this was a quarterback class that, if it was last year, there wouldn't be any talk about, well, we're going to take a quarterback or, no, we're going to take Caleb Williams or Jaden Daniels or whomever, but, likely one of those two guys. And in hindsight, I mean, Jaden Daniels is who we're taking right now. Imagine that, though. Imagine Ben Johnson had taken the job in Washington and said, hey, guys, let's run it back with Sam Howell.
Yeah.
Which is what some people have indicated. I don't know. Maybe he's a terrible personnel guy, right? But he doesn't have to make all the personnel decisions. Anyway, he's not our guy. He has flown the coop, and apparently Liam Coen has as well. Where does that leave the Jaguars in terms of options and who they are likely to sign? We'll talk with Pete Prisco coming up from CBS Sports. Is it too little too late, or is it at least a step in the right direction? Look, it's better, I think, for most people than if you go into the season with Trent Baalke and you make this realization next year. Now you got to hire a GM who's got to want to work with the coach that you already have in place, who's already been there for 1 year. It's why we said from the outset, put them on the same glide path here. Start fresh, start together, tie your fates together so there is harmony in terms of the vision and the work product and all that stuff. But look, we can wish what could have happened had happened, but it hasn't. What did happen is Shad Khan finally woke up and decided to move on from Trent Baalke. So where do they go from here is going to be the most important thing over the next several weeks. And will that process involve circling back with some of the guys they've already talked to? Will it expand to other guys that have not yet gotten an invite? What will Ethan Waugh's input be like? Is he a carbon copy of Trent Baalke, or does he have his own list of guys? Just because he's worked for Trent doesn't mean he isn't keeping his own notes over here in case he ever gets the opportunity to interview for a full-time GM post. So this is certainly, he's got the foot in the door to impress Shad Khan. And look, with Shad's track record, Tony, he has picked the low-hanging fruit several times. So for all the people just kind of defeated in their mind going, Ethan Waugh is already the GM, forget it. It's going to be him. You may be right. I mean, he
could work out that way.
He's got to be the betting favorite right now, but I would hope that we get an extensive search for that, just like they're doing for the head coaching gig. Pete Prisco, CBS Sports, coming up on the other side, always opinionated and sometimes even right with those opinions. Pete will join us here on Jaguars Today, coming up on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for Dandy Foods. Once again, a little chilly outside. Alexa, what's the temperature? 40 degrees. That's what I got this morning. Sometimes you need a little something in your belly to warm you up and get you in the right frame of mind for the rest of the day. I would encourage you to try some of the great offerings from Dandy and the Anytime Deli line of sandwiches and subs available at area gate stations. They're all over the place here in Duval. You just drive into a gate station, you can fill up the tank, but no, you can head to the Fresh Case and fill up your belly with great options like the Boom Boom Steak Sub, plain broiled beef strips, seasoned and marinated, gluten-free, no artificial ingredients. Add a little Swiss cheese, some of that Boom Boom sauce, and bam, delicious anytime, but it certainly warms you up when it's cold. Or how about a classic meatball sub, a hearty, messy, gooey, delicious meatball sub with marinara and plenty of Swiss cheese on a garlic Parmesan sub roll from Village Bread right here in town. That's Dandy, your local company. When you're hungry in Duval, go out and make yours a Dandy and do it today.
Jaguars Today for the renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. She's very comfortable talking sports and hanging out with the boys.
What position do I play?
You can't play?
Why not?
Mia O'Brien.
Women like her don't come along every day.
Weekdays noon to 2
That makes me rather dangerous.
on 1010XL.
What's happening, folks? E.T. here, and get out of the house and crush those New Year's resolutions on the beautiful trails of Clay County. With perfect weather, now's the time to explore Jennings State Forest, Mike Rose Gold Head State Park, and Belmore State Forest. And after your hike, refuel at one of Clay's local favorites, like Dalton Sports Grill or the Corner Pocket. Clay is my home, so I can promise you my people will take care of you. Trust me, just visit exploreclay.com and share those adventures at #ExploreClay.
Interested in a unique date night? Gibby here. I took my wife Nikki to Wick a Candle Bar. She made her own custom candle right there in the store. Shop local at Wick a Candle Bar. Locations in San Marco and Jacks Beach.
Jaguars Today Thursday, brought to you by Cannons of Jacksonville.
New year, new beginnings, and a new roof. Start 2025 with peace of mind and take advantage of Universal Roof and Contracting's limited time offer. 15% off all roof repairs and replacements. From leaks to full replacements, call 855-ROOF-HELP or visit universalroof.com to schedule your free roof inspection today. This special New Year deal ends January 31st. Universal Roof and Contracting, protecting your home and building your trust. License number CCC 057165, CBC 1258484.
Instead of wasting money on resolutions you won't keep, why not invest in something that lasts? Like fixing that dripping faucet, clearing that clogged drain, or finally tuning up your AC. Call Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. We'll help you keep your home in shape this year. It's the one resolution you won't regret breaking. Call 904-862-6769 to schedule service today. Because when you're stuck, call the Duck. Right now, get $50 off any service of $150 or more.
D1 Training East Jacksonville invites you to their mega NFL football camp at the Bowl School February 1st from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Ages 7 through 16. Get hands-on coaching from former NFL players at every single station. The coaches lineup put together by Connor and Sam at D1 is proudly sponsored by Tim Tebow. To sign up, call 904-901-6470.
One of the best things about being on the First Coast is standing at the center of the golf world. Yes, it is. Brunch with a Tour.
Tour news, tips, and inside info. Brought to you by
Clearwater Irrigation, 8:30 Tuesday morning on 1010XL.
If you're ready to transform your yard with a fence that stands out, elevate your curb appeal with Superior Fence and Rail. Superior takes pride in offering first-class service, friendly installers, and unmatched fence products. Mention this ad and get $250 off your next project. It's time to get off the fence and call today.
When you're on the fence, about the fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
Picking here for About 9 Associates, where you'll find Jacksonville's most esteemed eye doctors at each of their locations. After being selected for one of the most competitive ophthalmology fellowships in the world, Dr. Frank Bowden is frequently called upon for his expert opinion. He is currently one of the few cornea and external disease specialists in the area and the founder of About 9. Visit About 9 Associates today and experience the difference. About 9 Associates, keeping the First Coast focused.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville, and when you head into a brand new year with a boat show coming up, you've got a lineup of Honda and Coach pontoon boats that you want people to know about.
We do. We've got them in stock. It might still be a little chilly, but it's never too soon to start thinking about your next boat. We are going to be at the boat show January 24 to 26. You can come see us there. If you can't make it to our showroom, come see us at the boat show.
All sorts of ideas and opportunities to enjoy fun on the water with Cycles of Jacksonville. You can log on and check them out, or head to the showroom and be at the boat show.
Have you or someone you care about been arrested or had their driver's license taken away? I'm Susan Coen, and I work with David Robbins at the law firm of Epstein & Robbins. We are experienced fighters for those charged with DUI and all criminal offenses. I've been named the best DUI attorney in the state, and David has been named the best criminal defense lawyer in Jacksonville. In your battle with the justice system, there is only one thing you need to know. Dial David 24/7 at Epstein & Robbins, 354-5645.
With 50 years of fabrication expertise and towing products, the family at Cannons of Jacksonville can repair or install precisely what you need to tow with confidence. Visit cannonsofjacks.com, where quality and customer satisfaction collide.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555, Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line. Hello. We can wiggle it. Now, more Jaguars today on 1010XL.
All right, on the Garber Auto Mall hotline, Pete Prisco of CBS Sports swinging by. And good timing, Pete. We had this set up a couple of days ago. And apparently we have a lot to discuss. How are you today?
Good. How are you guys?
We're hanging in there, man. So what was the final straw? Was it just Shad Khan waking up and realizing that, yeah, if a guy who only has one head coaching opportunity turns us down to remain a coordinator where he is, something's got to change? Is it as simple as that?
Well, I don't know if it's as simple as that, but, I mean, look, the tea leaves were there for everybody. And you know, Liam Coen, by the way, you know, I think Baalke was the one actually pushing strong for Liam Coen. So I don't necessarily know if in that situation if that was the case. But, you know, the bottom line is the process wasn't handled very well. And Baalke was around because he needed somebody to kind of guide him through the process. And now that the process is going and they realize that, you know, he's a guy that's holding back people, then why not let him go? So I think that's the way it played out. I would have, you know, I've pulled no punches on this. I would have got rid of him a couple of years ago. And I think I would have got rid of him certainly after the season, but they opted not to do that. And did it cost them Ben Johnson? Maybe. But they also, you know, there are other factors in play there as well. And Ben Johnson, you know, decided to go to Chicago. I think he might have decided to go to Chicago anyway.
Pete, you've been covering the league for a long time now. Where does, everything you just talked about the last month for this franchise with Shad's decision to keep, then walk away from Trent Baalke yesterday, having 2 head coach candidates choose other options, rank among the top off-field stories that you have seen, strangest off-field stories you've seen maybe, as to how much it has surprised you?
Well, it certainly surprised me. I mean, we can go back a couple of years ago with Urban Meyer.
Thank you. First thing that came to mind, brother.
Yeah. I mean, and there's plenty of others over the years in this league. I mean, there's some whacked out situations. And so it's surprising. It wasn't. Look, the loyalty he showed to Trent Baalke was amazing. And here's why. I mean, the man's brilliant when it comes to business. He's been great at what he does. I mean, he look at the empire he built with the bumper industry. I mean, it's incredible. And look where he ranks in terms of the wealth of the owners of this league. You got to give credit for that. He's getting a stadium built. He built a new practice facility. He's willing to spend money. He doesn't meddle. And yet there's that one issue that's kind of been hovering over this franchise, and that at times he's too loyal to people. And, I don't know if that's because he doesn't like paying people not to work and whatever it is. He's been too loyal, and he was way too loyal to Trent Baalke. And now he needs to find somebody else in that building that he can lean on, somebody that, he can turn to for guidance. And I wrote a thing today on our site, and I outlined the plan. He needs to hire executive VP, then he needs to hire the coach, then he needs to hire the GM. And he needs to make sure that the GM and the coach don't necessarily need to know each other or work with each other in the past, because I've seen many a time where guys come in together and by year 3 they're fighting with each other anyway. So you just need to get the right guys into those positions.
So how likely do you think that is, that he goes the executive VP route?
I would say it's likely, because he needs somebody to lean on. He definitely needs somebody in that building to lean on, and there's no confidants. And, Tony Khan's not around as much as he used to be, and he's got a bunch of other things going on with the wrestling and the soccer team and everything else. And so I just think he needs somebody for guidance. Shad Khan's, not been around the league that long, and he doesn't know, people like, a certain GM or a VP would know them and help guide him. And you could go get those firms outside. You could do what the Jets did. But the Jets went out and look, Rick Spielman, I worked with Rick Spielman. They hired Rick Spielman and Mike Tannenbaum to kind of guide them through the process. And what did they end up with? Aaron Glenn, who everybody knows was a top candidate and played for the Jets. So you just need somebody to help guide you through the process a little bit and talk to these guys from a football standpoint and not necessarily just a business standpoint or a personal standpoint.
All right, so but if Shad doesn't know who the good GM candidates would be on his own, how does he know who the good executive vice president candidates would be?
Well, I mean, you got to go back out and start talking to people in the league.
But who does he, Pete? He said the other week, are your top advisors? He listed Baalke. He listed Doug Peterson about 2 hours after he fired him. Who does he talk to right now that he would be able to get that advice from, in your opinion?
See, that's the thing. He's got great people in the building he talks to from a business standpoint, and he doesn't have that from an NFL standpoint, from a personnel standpoint. So you're right. I mean, it's Ethan Waugh. I mean, he's from the Baalke tree. Right. You can't lean on him. So it's got to be somebody else that they bring in. And, they once considered Rick Spielman for that job, and it didn't work out for whatever reason. Somebody like that, or somebody that can handle the executive VP. There's a guy in there that knows business pretty well that's the Hall of Famer. He could probably end up handling a job like that. I mean, there are people that could do that. He just needs to trust that guy and lean on that guy and not necessarily get, filled with a bunch of hot air like Trent Baalke filled him with when he told him it was the most talented roster in the history of mankind.
Pete, I know you guys, when y'all are talking NFL among yourselves, you probably don't talk about the owners around the league all that much, but do you have any idea what the opinion of Shad Khan might be around the league?
Frustrated to the nth degree, and not that, because everybody looks at him and they say, you know what, he's a darn good owner when it comes to the things you need. I mean, what guy, what coach, what general manager wouldn't want an owner, A, who doesn't meddle, he doesn't say, look, you gotta do this, this, and this. We want to sign him. No, you can't. We're going to do it. He signed everybody, every extension that Baalke wanted, every free agent he wanted. He gave him the money last year. B, he's a guy with deep pockets. He's willing to spend, and he cares about it. It's just, I think I go back to what I said. He's too loyal to a fault, and I think that's hurt him in the process. And I think, again, you go back, nobody wants to pay people not to work. And so I think sometimes it's hard to just say, I'm going to eat that money and move on. But this is the NFL. You have to do that at times.
Right. He's had to do it plenty of times with players. I mean, it's the cost of doing business in this league. It's not like it's hurting the overall value of the franchise, which has certainly grown exponentially. Pete Prisco, CBS Sports, here with us for a few more minutes. Pete, let's presume Liam Coen does not now have a change of heart, and he's off the table. Aaron Glenn, as you mentioned, going with the Jets. Who's your favorite candidate for the Jaguars that has yet to sign with somebody?
By the way, if Liam Coen did have a change of heart, there's also now John Spytek is now the GM and with the Raiders.
The Raiders,
he comes
right.
from Tampa Bay too. So I mean, if he had a change of heart, it doesn't necessarily mean that's not a great job because there's no quarterback there. But again, he could have a change of heart and decide he wanted to look in that direction.
That's true. But they haven't, at least to this point, expressed interest in him that we're aware of. So
not yet.
Who's your top guy?
Me personally, I think the guy who's going to get the job is I think Robert Saleh is going to get the job. I mean, if I had my just reading the tea leaves, I think Robert Saleh is going to get the job, and then the main question becomes who's his offensive coordinator, because I think the offensive coordinator position is so paramount to what they do because they have to build up Trevor Lawrence, they have to build it around them. Names you hear, Michael Floor. And, people say, well, he fired him in with the Jets. But I think that was a Woody Johnson fly-off-the-handle firing. I don't necessarily think that was Robert Saleh. And then they bring the Rams offense, which I think would fit, that offense would fit Trevor Lawrence to a T. The other guy, name that keeps getting, possibly is Stenovich, the coordinator in Green Bay. Now, whether those guys would be allowed to leave would be up to the head coach because they have the title. But, in the past, Sean McVay has allowed coordinators to leave if they call plays. So I think that pairing in some sort would make some sense. And, did Robert Saleh get a raw deal in New York? I mean, in stories I hear about Woody Johnson, and you've read some of them, but I hear even more of them, I don't know if you ever could get a fair shake up there. So he would make some sense. I would go back to Joe Brady. And I didn't know Joe Brady, and I spent some time with him this summer. Really, really liked him. Had a little bit of that edge that you need from the head coach position. And we see what he, has done with Josh Allen. Now, doing things with Josh Allen's an entirely different animal than doing it with Trevor Lawrence, at least to this point. So I think those are a couple guys I would go back and I would probably revisit Joe Brady if I don't settle on Robert Saleh. But you hear that there's, he's impressive. I heard Robert Saleh was impressive in all of it.
Pete, has your confidence level in Trevor Lawrence been impacted by the way the last two seasons have played out for him?
It's been impacted by offensive design, offensive style, lack of protection, a bunch of different things. Does he need to be better? Absolutely. Well, fault of his, I think, at times is trying to play through injuries. I mean, he's almost stubborn to a fault when it comes to that. Last year he probably shouldn't have played in a couple of those games, and he did, and made him look bad. But, he's one of those guys that holds himself accountable to his teammates. And, that's a nice quality to have, but sometimes you got to be smarter than that. I still believe he can, if the right coach comes in, they can make him a big-time player in this league. He can drive the ball down the field. You have a deep threat into passing game of Brian Thomas. I mean, think about the design of this offense. There were games where they didn't target him. Not once. 4 targets in one game? I mean, it's ridiculous. And so I think you need an offense in there that's going to be suited to Trevor Lawrence, and I think they can get that if they get the right guy.
All right, overall, Pete, if they get the right guy, whether that's Joe Brady, Robert Saleh, somebody else off the board here, they get a competent GM in place, whether they have an EVP or not, how fixable is this short term? How much better can the Jaguars be in 2025, in your opinion?
They could flip that quickly. And I'm not just saying that, but I mean they got to do the right thing. First and foremost, get better in the interior of the offensive line and the interior of the defensive line. Start there. Get bigger, stronger, tougher, nastier, more violent in the middle of those two lines. And all of a sudden you look around and you go, you know what? They have talent. I mean, how many teams have a quarterback receiver combo like that? I mean, you know, whatever you think about Trevor Lawrence, how many number one overall pick has had his moments where he's been outstanding and can certainly drive the ball down the field. And you have a receiver that might be in that class of the Jefferson Chase group. I mean, how many teams can claim that? Build it around that, get stronger in the middle of the offensive line, use your first overall pick on the Graham kid from Michigan, and now all of a sudden you got a front four that is nasty. And then, you know, fill in the spots and clear out some of the dead weight and become a team, you know, that plays tough, physical, nasty brand of football, because they didn't do that under Doug Peters.
Pete, how do you think the Jags should approach the needs that we're talking about here, given the likely free agent class, which it's not a banner free agent group this year, and the players that'll be available to them in the draft? How would you approach fixing some of those problems?
Yeah, well, I mean, like I said, you know, I would draft Graham, the defensive tackle from Michigan. If he's sitting there when you pick him. Put him in there, put him next to Smith, and then you have the two ends, and you have a front four. Get those two guys lighter. They played too heavy last year. I think Hines Allen was clearly too heavy. I think they asked him to be. And then all of a sudden you can build it around that front four on defense. Offensively, look, there are some guards in free agency if you want to, you know, get a stopgap guy. Kevin Zeit was going to be an unrestricted free agent. He went in and had a good year with the Lions. You might not pay big money for him if you want to get more physical on the offensive line. But I think you can, and then you draft guys. I mean, if you took Graham in the first round, you come back and you use a couple picks on offensive linemen. You know, that's the way you got to do it. And even when you get down to the 5th and 6th, 7th round, if you've addressed a couple needs, like a corner in the 3rd maybe, and maybe a speed receiver to help out as well, then you come back in the 6th and 7th, you know, those late rounds and get yourself more big people, because you never know when they develop, and you could put them, you know, in the developmental role. They don't have any developmental guys. There's none. Cooper Hodges was a developmental guy, but now he's, you know, who knows when he's going to be able to play. So they have to get some developmental offensive linemen. They have to get bigger and tougher in the middle there. I think you can do it in the draft and free agency. Nothing crazy in free agency. And then, you know, you also have to decide what you're going to do with some of your own guys. You know, what is Mitch Morse going to play? I mean, is he coming back? As he said, if he's coming back, what about Sheriff? Is he going to play? I mean, you got to decide what you're going to do with those guys. But I think that'll all come after you get your coach, decide what style of offense you're going to run, and then you can get your general manager, figure out what you can do with those guys.
All right, last thought, Pete, and let's presume he's there for the Jags at number 5. Travis Hunter, what do you think?
No.
How come?
I mean, I like him. He's good at a lot of things. Is he great at anything? That's the question. And look, he might end up being – where are you playing him, at corner?
I don't know. I'm asking you. I mean, like, we've had a lot of draft pundits come on and say he would be the number 1 corner or the number 1 receiver if he just declared that he was going to play one of those, in their opinion.
I think he plays corner, and, you know, from that standpoint, could they use a corner? Absolutely. But I just think they need it. You can cover up your corners if you're good enough up front. And I think if you can get a guy, Graham has a chance to be truly special on the interior. And if you can get that and pair him with those ends for the next 5 years, all of a sudden your corners are going to look really good on the back end. So I think I'd go with the big guy up front.
All right. Well, with Trent out of the building, Mason Graham's arm length will not be as much of a factor, hopefully, in the draft process.
Yeah, we get way too caught up in all the arm length and this and that and everything else. And a lot of times these people, they just miss football players for simply being football players. You know that, Mike.
Aiden Hutchinson said that the Jags told him his arms were an inch too short. That's what he said. Now, did they put it in those exact terms? I don't know, but I'm with you, man.
You did know one thing about Baalke. He would draft on traits.
No doubt.
I mean, there's no doubt about that. And drafting on traits is never a good thing. And ever do you want to just draft on traits. The tape don't lie. I mean, give me a break. That's part of the problem with him over the years. He drafted with traits. He signed guys that were older and breaking down, and I think that's ultimately what got him out in Jacksonville.
Are you on the Frangie show tomorrow?
I was on yesterday.
Oh, yesterday. Okay. I can't keep up, man. You're a world traveler. What can I tell you? I can't keep up with all your appearances, but I'm sure they'll hear you next week as well. We appreciate you hopping on, spending some time with us. Folks who listen to this program already probably do this, but if you don't, you can follow Pete on Twitter or X at Prisco CBS. Pete, all the best, and let's catch up again in a month or so.
You got it. Take care, guys.
Thank you, buddy. There he goes, Pete Prisco. I enjoy the hell. I learn a lot from Pete. I enjoy our conversations for the Jags pregame show, as we've been doing now for over a decade, man. But, Pete's an opinionated guy. I'll say this about the EVP thing. Like, yes, Tony Baselli seems prepackaged, ready to go right here, but that's sort of the issue. Who else are the candidates?
Yeah.
Right? Are you just taking the one obvious guy? Is he going to do that right now if they doesn't hire an EVP and say, oh, Ethan Wall's in place? I know he can do the job. Is he the best candidate? I don't know, but I got a guy, so let's go with that.
Yeah.
Right? And I don't know where Shad would begin to put together a list of guys that would be qualified to advise him on who the GM is if he can't come up with a list on his own on who the GM might be, right? And I get it. You need football people in the building, but where does he begin to compile that list? Who does he talk to that he trusts? He's firing everybody that he said he talks to. So, and not that I'm upset that he's firing people, just the timing of it, maybe a little bit. All right, we'll come back on the other side with some final thoughts. By the way, Dylan passed this along to us from Ian Rappaport, who tweets out, worth noting, the Jaguars are not down to the two candidates who are in this week for in-person interviews, Robert Saleh and Patrick Graham. Their interview schedule is also expected to include, among others, coaches in the playoffs such as Joe Brady and Kellen Moore. So at least from Rappaport's standpoint, he's saying the search will continue beyond tomorrow with the scheduled interviews in place. All right, then we'll come back with some final thoughts here. Jaguars Today rolls on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today.
For the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios at 1010XL. 1010XL is your home for Jacksonville University basketball.
The Dolphins take their 5-game win streak north of the Florida-Georgia line. JU West Georgia. Tonight at 7 on 1010 AM.
Do the Garber wiggle, Garber wiggle, 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 Garber wiggle.
It's the time of year all our customers love. At Garber Auto Mall, every 2024 must go. Take advantage of thousands in discounts on all new Chevy, Buick, GMC, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, and Ford. Visit us in Green Cove Springs or at GarberAutomall.com. And remember, at Garber Auto Mall, there's always a little room for wiggle.
Garber wiggle, Garber wiggle, 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 Garber wiggle.
Are you embarrassed by your ugly, cracked concrete driveway? Stop by Stone Core on Phillips Highway for all your outdoor living needs. Let them show you how a durable paver driveway can enhance your home. Visit stonecore.co. We do outdoors better.
Texting enrolls you into reoccurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again, at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text PREP to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast, absolutely free. Text PREP to 42424. That's PREP to 42424.
Jaguars Today Thursday is towed by Cannons of Jacksonville for all your towing needs.
Bueller Air and Plumbing presents Are You Cool?
Today's contestant, a professional stamp licker from Jacksonville, Florida, meet Martin Celery.
Oh, gosh. I can't wait to play, Bob.
Well, let's move things along. Tell him what he's won, Johnny.
Wait, but
That's right, Marty. At Bueller Air and Plumbing, we've stocked up on the remaining inventory of low-cost 2024 model air conditioners. So you win. We're passing the savings on to you.
Can I answer a question first?
We need to make room for the 25s, so we're offering great deals on AC replacements while supplies last.
Could I spin the wheel at least? I've been practicing for a year.
With last-minute deals like this, there's no question that you are cool.
What do I tell my kids?
There you go. Have a souvenir T-shirt.
Thanks.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
What could you do with an extra $75,000 right now, or even a couple $100,000? If you own a home, you can get that money in less than a week with Loan Pronto. Hey, Prosser here. Loan Pronto is the leader in quickly converting your home equity into cold hard cash, so you can pay off all your credit cards or start that home remodel. Loan Pronto has several easy options to let you access the cash from your home. There's virtually no paperwork, no cumbersome process, no junk fees, often no appraisals. Listen, the average homeowner now has over $300,000 in equity. That's your money. Use it. One client got $150,000 out and paid off all their credit cards, 2 car loans, and a personal loan, cutting their monthly expenses by $1,500. You can get approved in as little as 1 day, so act now with no hard credit pull up front. LoanPronto.com or 904-999-1508. Get the money you need for anything at 904-999-1508 or just go to LoanPronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Frank Frangie here. Join us for the Frangie Show Friday from 4 to 6 at Barley and Pie Brewing Company in Fleming Island. We'll preview the AFC-NFC Championship game, and you can win a pair of Gator basketball tickets. Friday, 4 to 6 at Barley and Pie in Fleming Island.
Jacksonville, get ready to spice up your night at One Night Taco Stand. Every Taco Tuesday, enjoy their mouth-watering tacos for just $2.99 and get your weekend started with 2-for-1 house margaritas. Find fresh Mexican street food, stiff drinks, and fun vibes at One Night Taco Stand with 3 Jacksonville locations in Mandarin, Orange Park, and Southside at Bay Meadows.
Lauren Brooks here for Terminix. Before termites attack your home or business and cause costly damage, Terminix it. Terminix stops termites in my home fast. These destructive pests may have been around for millions of years, but before they show up, so does Terminix. And their time is up. Don't live with a termite problem. I certainly wasn't going to. Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule a free inspection online. That's TERMINIX.com. Terminix.com.
New year, new boat. The Jacksonville Boat Show is January 24th, 25th, and 26th at the Prime Osborne Convention Center. Make your boating dream a reality this year. Deals on boats and accessories, fishing seminars, kids events, and more. The Jacksonville Boat Show, presented by ViStar Credit Union. Tickets at boatjacks.com. That's boatjacks.com. Come buy a boat.
Transform your bathroom with stunning shower glass from Sky Glass Solutions in Jacksonville Beach. For a free quote, call 904-608-5151 or visit skyglasssolutions.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the Cool Down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Keeping Jack's cool since 1987.
All right, final few minutes of the program here today on Jaguars Today. We got a lot of GIFs or GIFs in response to our question of the day. Many dancing, showing elation, whatever the heck you want to describe it as. What is your reaction to the Jaguars parting ways with GM Trent Baalke was our question today, Tony. Let's see. Scott, hoping there's a master plan already in place, i.e. an EVP announcement today. There's got to be more to this than we're just in need of a GM and head coach. Please tell me there is more. 16 days, but too late, but yay, said Cristiano. Let's see. Ms. Nika, bad word. Finally. We can imagine what that word would be. Let's see. Similar in that vein, right? Somebody sent us their rant that included a lot of expletives in there, and that's fine. Look, I feel like it's you're drawn between a couple of emotions. You want to describe it as like happiness, elation, whatever. We're free of what we felt was this burden.
That's done. Yeah.
Right? It's over. So that part is done, and there's some sense of relief or optimism or whatever, but it's also tempered by what might have been if we had just acted on this a little bit sooner. You can't do anything about it, but that's life, right? We think about things we can't do anything about all the time. In fact, that's most of what we talk about is things we have no control over.
Them letting Baalke go gives you hope that the process in the future will get better, but it doesn't change what it's been for the last 2 weeks especially.
Let's see. According to Pro Football Talk, Cowboys closing in on a deal to make Brian Schottenheimer their head coach.
Yeah, I don't see that from Rap Sheet or Schefter. That's the only outlet I've seen that from.
All right. Well, regardless, you know, you can take that with a lump of salt if you want to, coming from PFT. But you know, whatever.
He's been talked about for a while now with that. So.
Oh, just couldn't be less interested in a guy like the good thing if Brian Schottenheimer gets a job in Dallas as the head coach, it means whatever guy we hire here, if he's a defensive guy, can't hire him to be the Jags offensive coordinator. That's how little I think of Brian Schottenheimer's coaching ability. That
Deion story was here and it vanished so fast.
Oh, the Cowboys Deion story?
Yeah.
Jerry just wanted to keep his team out in the news for a couple of days, and gained some traction, and I guess that matters a lot to him, but whatever. I mean, we're not going to be the national story here, but here local, I mean, this has been something we've been chasing for a while, Tony.
Yeah. Hiring a Schottenheimer for a team that doesn't win much in the playoffs lately, I mean, the jokes write themselves, Dallas. I mean, it's okay.
Which, it doesn't seem like it's that unattractive of a job, but then again, you've also got, like, hey, talk about who's the GM. Well, Jerry's, whatever Stephen Jones is in name, Jerry's the show. And you got to deal with that, and not everybody can deal with that on a daily basis or would choose to if they have options.
And we should mention, because we haven't to this point on the show, at least, Brian Thomas Jr. will be going to the Pro Bowl, and he has been named as a finalist for the Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah. Who withdrew? Zay Flowers withdrew?
Zay Flowers withdrew, as we all thought he would when it got announced.
Right. Well, and plus he was unable to play the last couple of weeks, got hurt in week 18, which I don't know if he makes the difference against the Buffalo Bills or not, but it's goes to show you why teams bench players in week 18. Now, they needed to win the division. I get it, right? But, if you have the opportunity to hold your guys back, better to have them a little bit rusty but healthy.
So you'll get to watch Brian Thomas Jr. play flag football.
And dodgeball.
Yeah.
I don't care. I hope he doesn't play flag football. I don't want him getting hurt playing flag football. I mean, fine. He'll probably be fine. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care. I just want him to have the honor, the accolade.
Yeah.
All the stuff they do down there, I don't pay any attention.
I don't know how any of that stuff works. Like, if you were the alternate that gets in, if you say no thank you, do you still get to list it as a Pro Bowl, or do you have to go for it to actually be a Pro Bowl?
Like, if you're elected I think you get to be considered a Pro Bowler and you didn't participate due to injury.
Okay, Zay would be that. I'm talking about with Brian.
I think
like, if he said no thank you, would he be a Pro Bowler? Like, I think he has to go down there and do it.
Yeah, I think so,
to
too.
Be a pro, which, whatever. I saw Jamal Agnew catch a touchdown pass from Trevor Lawrence a couple years ago in the flag football game.
Why wouldn't you want to be around? Like, if you're Brian Thomas, man, maybe you can pick the brain of a couple of guys who've been in the league doing it at a high level. Hey, Jamar Chase went to the same school here, man. We're no threat to you.
Yeah.
You got to trade secrets. Not that Brian Thomas had a bad start to his career by any stretch of the imagination.
And maybe nobody else in Jacksonville happier than Mike DiRocco, who's going to be down there covering the Pro Bowl. He had a couple special teams guy to cover before Brian Thomas Jr. officially gets named. So he'd be down there to cover BTGA too.
Man, it just, at least I hope we're done with the none of it matters because Baalke, right? Mm-hmm. It always mattered. It always mattered.
Absolutely.
None of it. Look, it mattered that he took Brian Thomas Jr. And I'm not saying that obviously wasn't a reason to keep him around solely when you factored in everything. But, and again, it had plenty of hits on draft picks, had some occasional success in free agency. It was more that what you hear consistently is that he was a guy that was all about protecting his own power. And he was difficult to work with in that regard because his success, and we all do it to some degree, right? Like, I mean, I want everyone at 1010XL to have success. Who do I want to have the most? Me. And if anyone else is being honest, they're talking about themselves as well. But are you creating an environment where your self-preservation is a detriment to everybody else? That apparently is what was going on with the Jacksonville Jaguars. A lot of people felt that way. Somebody asked yesterday, we didn't get to it, do you think that anybody might have called Doug Peterson to ask his opinion. Why wouldn't you if you have that kind of connection with Doug Peterson and you know him? Hey, what would I be walking into? And what kind of answer do you think Doug Peterson would give?
I don't know how you wouldn't.
Right. Well, if
you had a connection with Doug Peterson at all, be like, hey, man, what was it like?
Right.
Like, what
is
am I
it as
walking
bad
into?
as everybody's talking about, or is it overblown? And I would presume, who knows? Maybe Doug thought it wasn't as bad because he didn't have to answer to him directly. I don't know.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter now. He's gone. Wish we were having this show 2.5 weeks ago because then the excitement level would have been through the roof, But it is what it is at this point, said Captain Obvious. And as somebody just said, done way too late, in my opinion. All right, but it's either that now or never, right? Because you can't go back in time. So I don't know anybody who thinks if now that it's passed, all you can do, if you were the owner of the Jaguars as of yesterday morning, what else would you have done? It would have been your first order of business to move on from the GM. So we've done that. Now where do we go from here? Ian Rappaport indicates that the coaching search will expand, and it'll be interesting to see who shows significant interest because this is a sign of dysfunction, Tony. Mm-hmm. It really, the fact that it took you 2.5 weeks to realize what everyone else in the National Football League knew, that even though Baalke's gone, I could absolutely see one or two candidates going, the owner's pretty dysfunctional here, and I don't know if that's what I want to walk into.
Yeah, there's a chance for the process to get better, but it doesn't make the process that they've had any better.
No. All right, let's welcome in Helmets and Heels.
Now, the 2-minute drill. Serviced by Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. Locally owned and operated. We're your neighbors. Find the coolest cats in town at coolcatsjacks.com.
Welcome back, LB.
Why, thank you so much.
How are you? Good timing on your part.
Yes.
Working behind the scenes as you were to get some stuff moved out of here, right?
I worked very hard while watching those manatees at Blue Springs State Park, and the manatees got it done.
Did you get in the water?
Absolutely not. No,
Isn't it like 72 year round?
It is, but the head of the spring is under construction, so you are not allowed to get in the water. Yes, and they also don't want you getting in right now when there are so many manatees.
When I moved to Florida, I did not really know how to swim that well, and my next door neighbor would go to Blue Springs. I'd go with him sometimes, and you get those inflatable tubes, and you just kind of float down and whatever. And his dad would throw me off. I still remember this to this day, thinking, this will teach him how to swim. I would sink like a freaking stone at Blue Springs in that beautiful 72-degree water, and then he would dive down and literally pull me up and thought it was great.
That does not seem...
I don't have a phobia of the water now.
That's good. That does not seem like the best way, though.
It doesn't. It didn't then either.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
That seems a little traumatic, so I'm glad that you're not afraid of the water.
Yeah, Blue Springs is right down my neck of the woods. I used to have a girlfriend out in that area, and I used to ride my 10-speed. From DeLand. It was a good little jaunt out there, but used to do that quite frequently.
Yeah, they have bike trails that connect from Orange City to DeLand and things like that. So that's cool. But
I was straight Woodland Boulevard, baby. Let's go.
Well, yeah, it was fun. It was a good little getaway. Timed it, like you said, perfectly. Get to come back. I didn't have to ride the roller coaster of all the drama the last 2 days. Get to come in and talk about the future of this organization and how much better it can be now moving forward.
Yes. So I'm sure you ladies will be discussing that today.
Absolutely.
Exclusively or anything else on the agenda?
Pretty much all Jags.
Why not?
Then Laura Rutledge will join us from ESPN at 1:30. I do want to get the national perspective of, just how much of a laughingstock we have looked like over the last 2 weeks.
Right. I mean, look, it's still better that he's gone, but in some ways it highlights the dysfunction of what this organization has been, that it took you that extra 2.5 weeks, and maybe Ben Johnson would have already been announced as the Jags coach. Certainly it feels like Liam Coen would have at least been announced as the Jags head coach, or it would have been well down the road to finalizing that kind of situation. At least that's the feeling. So.
This is why I feel like all of Duval is so intimately connected when it comes to the Jaguars, because we really are on this wild roller coaster year in and year out all together.
Welcome back to all those who said, I'm out until Baalke's gone.
So I said season ticket purchases will be happening left and right.
I never put, that's their perspective and prerogative to do what they want on all that, but we will see. It's the ones who said, I'm out, that's it, I'm done forever.
Right.
Curious if you really meant what you said now, or were you speaking out of emotion?
Yeah, it's funny. I got so many texts when Shad decided and announced that he was getting rid of Doug and keeping Trent. And then yesterday, the texts were much less, like much fewer texts. No one was really celebrating. So
yeah,
they're still wait and see.
Yeah.
Right.
It's good, but it could have been great.
Right. And they still feel left at the altar, to your point about Ben Johnson and Liam Coen. And so, yeah, the decisions moving forward, those need to be right. That's all I have to say.
All-time Jaguars coaching Mount Rushmore now. Coughlin, probably Peterson won division title. Liam Coen. And, I mean, he did affect change in a positive way here, apparently.
Did.
So.
It's just
Jack Del Rio disrespect.
Yeah, exactly. Jack Del Rio.
There's 4 on the Mount Rushmore, Tony. There's room for Jack. Get him in there.
Hopefully the next coach is going to fly up that Mount Rushmore. Because goodness knows, we know we have had, as far as the negative coaches, like some of the worst coaches of all time in NFL history between Gus Bradley and Urban Meyer. We have those too.
Yikes. I saw somebody say today on one of the feedback loops here, might have been on YouTube, Trevor's gotten 2 coaches fired. Really? You think he got Urban Meyer fired? You think Trevor got Urban Meyer fired? Wow.
Yeah, Trevor, to my knowledge, was on that flight back from Cincinnati.
He made it back on the plane.
Urban was not. Trevor, to my knowledge, did not kick Josh Lambeau.
Another one in Trevor's category. All right, Lauren, have a great show.
Thank you so much.
Good to see you. All right, LB and Helmets and Heels coming your way for the next couple of hours. It feels a little bit better around these parts here. Tomorrow, we'll see we're efforting a few potentials for the program, and we'd love to have your continued feedback on the Jaguars coaching search and now perhaps GM search as well, EVP and all that stuff as potential options for him. So thanks to Travis Holmes of Big Cat Country and Pete Prisco of CBS Sports for joining us. For Tony Smith and Dylan Denmark, I'm Mike Dempsey. Helmets and Heels next on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks.